Necrit!
Oh my goodness! Hold on, give me just a brief second, because people won't probably believe who just came here. You have no idea what an honor this is for me.
Hey, well, likewise. I'm a huge fan of your stuff. I watch all your videos, and I'm always impressed.
I'm a huge fan of your stuff, believe it or not.
Thank you.
Yeah, I truly... You have no idea what this means to me, because I've been with League since the very beginning. I've been there in the beta. I've stuck with it until now, and just... Yeah,
Thank you.
No idea.
Well, no, hey, I'm grateful. You know, I know we had some rough edges in the early days, and oftentimes, you know, still make mistakes and whatnot, but we appreciate the support, and, you know, I know you saw, you know, the potential and the heart that exists on the team and what we're trying to do, and you know, hopefully we don't let you down. You know, we're trying to...
It all obviously started with fun at the very beginning. It was just experimentations with different champions, and it still continues with the same fun, just on a bigger scale. So...
Yeah, it's true. You know, and we're all just chasing the same dream in different ways, and you know, we're learning, we're experimenting, and it's just it is really fun to just to see everything grow and evolve, and you know, I still just think we're getting started, which is crazy.
Did you ever expect that anything like this would happen? Or did you think, at first, when League was created, did you think it would be like a one-off thing that would like disappear somewhat quickly?
We feared that would be the case, but I mean, the dream and the hope was always that League was the start of so much more, and then also that, you know, these characters that we were all pouring so much love and care and attention into, that they could at some point, you know, be worthy of a big production like Arcane. And so this is a special night and a special moment, and we're grateful to have you here and so many members of the community and the cast, and you know, be able to do this broadcast to our players, you know, despite the fact that, like, who does that, right? Like, you know, it's distribution rights are complicated to navigate.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but like, yeah, Riot's a unique beast, and so we're and it's been great that our partners have been able to understand that a little bit.
I just, you know, every time there is an event like this, you can feel the community. Just you can feel the hype really everywhere. And I really want to give you one question, because I fear there wouldn't be anyone else that I could ask this. So a few years back, there was an interview where Ghostcrawler talked about Jinx and Vi, and he revealed that they were sisters. And this was years before it was ever confirmed or revealed. Is it possible that back then Ghostcrawler was already involved in Arcane? And like, he knew that there would be a story about them becoming sisters?
We've been working on Arcane for 6 years. So
yeah, so yes, the answer is yes then.
And he probably didn't mean to let that slip.
Oh yeah. And did you consider anyone else's story, or was Jinx and Vi the obvious choice when it comes to like your first big feature?
There are lots of stories that we think are pretty interesting to tell, but you know, whenever we're building anything, whether it's a game or whether it's exploring a great story or, you know, a different medium like now TV, we're not only thinking about how to, like, what's the right story or what's the right game. Like, the question is always, are we doing justice to this story, right? And or to this game or to this opportunity? And there's lots of stuff that doesn't survive the sort of cutting room floor, or you know. And because Riot's also, we're growing, we're learning, we're getting better, I think, in a bunch of areas, and which doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. But you know, and everybody likes to point to, you know, various things and all that, and all of those are really helpful for us to do better in the future. So
you can see that whenever a mistake happens, it is always like an honest mistake, and it never has malicious intent. And I think the community can see that it always drives an improvement.
Yeah, well, and also, you know, we take risks, right?
Yes.
Right, and like, we're willing to go try music and go try esports and go try stories in different ways, and be like, how do we tell stories in a competitive multiplayer game? Even though story is often, it should be setting, it's sort of the like, background, and so that experimentation, I think, has led to some great wins and some stuff that's kind of campy and all that. But in general, I think we learn, we acknowledge, we listen to the feedback, and we're like, yeah, that, you know, didn't hit the bar. But for something like Arcane, or for some big projects like this, we know the bar is just, it's so different than in an online service game where we can iterate and we can patch stuff or adjust. It's like we have to be excellent right up out of the gate, and so that has been an interesting challenge for everybody, right, to figure out how to adjust to also. But again, I think a very positive forcing mechanism that again hopefully shows in the work.
Would you say then that Arcane is really meant for the broader audience, that you don't need to be a fan of League of Legends to really enjoy?
The goal with Arcane is that it had to be incredible for League players first, but if other people like it too, awesome. And we were hoping that by having, if we do a great job with the story and the acting and the characters and the world building and the art and the animation and everything, and the music, that it will attract other people too and be like, wow, this universe is really cool and compelling, even if I may never go play a competitive multiplayer online game, but those characters are freaking dope. And but again, it's not for them, right? This is for League players and our fans. But we again hope that there's a lot of other people that are going to find the things that, like, the League players already know, which is, wow, these characters are cool, this world's cool, and I want to spend more time in it and learn more about it and who these people are.
And I have to confirm, like, every time I talk to anyone, I always say the same thing. I always say that, absolutely honestly, out of all the fantasy worlds, League of Legends has by far the best one. I've been part of so many fantasy worlds. League of Legends has simply the best one because the writers are absolutely amazing, and I'm just so happy that League of Legends has this awesome.
Well, thank you. We hope to continue to deliver, and we're grateful for all the work that you do and all the support you give and all the enthusiasm you have. And I saw that video you created, by the way, which is really cool. Thank you for that.
Thank you for watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, Necrit, I hope you enjoy. I got to run to something else, but it's great to see you.
It was absolutely awesome to see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Well, so I need to figure out. I have never used, I've never used Zoom. So don't mind me. That, by the way, was Tryndamere himself. If you don't know who that was Tryndamere. I would like to actually hear it. Zoom? How do you work? How do you work Zoom? Zoom. Hold on, give me a moment. All right, after I'm a boomer, but that, yes, absolutely.
Welcome. I just wiped everything down, so you're good to go.
You use the headphones. Oh, we're jumping right back in. Whoop.
All right, hello there.
All right, hello there.
All right, the IP police is here.
All right. Go on. Can you just super quickly introduce yourself so people know?
Sure. Hello, my name is Christian. I'm one of the co-creators of Arcane, the showrunner, and been at Riot for 11 years. Worked on a bunch of different things. Started in customer support actually, many moons ago, but then went over a bunch of different teams. Worked on music eventually. Helped kind of build the music team. Worked then on music videos, esports opening ceremonies, yada yada yada, and eventually started Arcane with Alex. So yes.
So we have quite a few things under your belt. So
Well,
my
a few.
obvious first question is, when it comes to Arcane, was Jinx and Vi the first choice, or were you considered other stories to explore first?
They were the first choice. Yeah. We really, Alex and I, we both came off of different projects. I had just worked on a music video. He had worked on some stories that were released at the time. And I think it was just this obvious question of like, what's next? I had worked with Fortiche a bunch of times on these music videos. And I think even just as, selfishly thinking creatives, you just want to challenge yourself to do something new, right? And at that time, we had done stories, we had done cinematics, music videos. We had also, obviously worked with a lot of voice actors and actresses. And I think it was just this question of like, can we just do something bigger that goes deeper in the stories? And I think in many ways, it was just kind of the obvious choice for a few reasons. This particular story. They were very special characters for us as people. The very first time Fortiche and I had worked together was Jinx. the Vi was the first song, and Jinxton also as a follow-up. There were songs that I had worked on it for the first time. We did kind of lyrics, and we did something bigger, not just another kind of orchestral track, but something that was kind of off the wall. So there was just kind of an emotional and creative connection that just make them special, and so I think there wasn't really a question about what like other I get there's cool stuff out there that we want to do maybe with
I would
if we
say
get
that this fits perfectly. Like I think Arcane and Jinx and Vibe are absolutely perfect choice because I think it also goes to the wider audience. Because if you go with something like Demacia, you really focus on fantasy, but in Zone and Piltover, you are really rooted in reality, and you kind of can really dive into like almost real life problems, even though there is a little bit of magic on top of that. And I truly believe that this was the best choice you could have made for something like this, for a first big project like this.
I hope so. I mean, I think you're right. Like, I think it's a good perspective. I think, Runeterra is a big world. Like, if you were to tell me pick a place to introduce you into, I don't know, some whatever, rich European history, for example, do you want to start with the big kind of, I don't know, war nations, or is it interesting to kind of start with the perspective of a smaller nation that kind of helps you also through the character's journey out, and then kind of learn more about, I don't know, the bigger world over time. So I think it just made sense in a lot of ways. Not to mention that it is not a coincidence that a lot of Piltover looks like Paris. So like for the artist that worked at Fortiche, like I don't know, how am I going to design? What's this house going to look like? Let me just look through the window, So I think it just made sense.
And like with Jace and Victor also appearing there, was it really just Vi and Jinx at first, and then you started like snowballing other characters on top of that?
Yeah.
So it was really like a continuous flow where you really just kept going and you just saw where it would go.
Yeah. I mean, creatively, at least personally, I always just try to find like the thing that I really commit to and I really kind of hold on to, and then you build from there, right? And I think they're gesturing to me that I should keep moving, but I will just ignore them for now. But I think Jason and Victor were also interesting because it gave us another perspective on the same story, from the other side of the city. We also always thought they were just really cool. I mean, we also worked on them back then when they were being made for the game. And it's just, as well as we do what it's like when you just kind of get this one-liner of like, there's a relationship, something happened, and I'm gonna play this game for like a decade without knowing what, it's just like this, like what happened, like what's going on. So I think that was also something where I think you can't really make something if you aren't personally really passionate about the question you're trying to answer, And I think that was there for us. And it just felt like we had something to add, for the question of technology. We're a bunch of tech nerds, that who work on this, and so I think that was just the right canvas to tell the story.
I think it fits absolutely perfectly. Again, it was the perfect choice. I don't think anything else would have been done better. But yeah, and it started with Jinx, and you worked on it yourself. It started with a song at the very roots. So even the very beginning was a bang. So you are already riding off a pretty good wave. So now I can understand why the hype is going.
I mean, to be honest though, it's amazing to see. We've been very lucky with how Riot has allowed us to chase this. This was a pretty crazy idea from the beginning. We were a bunch of people who had never done this. Fortiche was a studio who had never done something as big as this. They did music videos in 3 minutes. This was, something that we really, really cared about, and I think a lot of people had this dream of this animated series that goes as deep, into the acting moments and the subtlety and the character building as some of our favorite drama shows. And that just didn't exist. We were just we don't know how to find out how to build this. Here's Alex.
I'm here to crash your interview.
I guess I'll let him take over.
I can't hear you, but I've been waiting for this moment. Suffice to say, your videos are popular with the team internally. We like seeing how you see things.
Yeah, we like to see how you're right and wrong on things that you look at. But hopefully there'll be positive surprises. But no, I just wanted to say, I think we were very lucky that we were able to pursue this crazy pipe dream, you know. And at the end of the day, I think it's really cool that we can show the rest of the world. This is why we think this IP is cool. These characters are cool. But I think the most important thing, I think also for us, is just like we just want to create that thing that I think a lot of League players have always wanted. You know, I mean, I assume you're one of those. And at the end of the day, that just needs to be a good story. You know, I think you can put a lot of bells and whistles on everything, but we spent 6 years on this project because we just really tried to go as deep as you have to really make them real. You know, like when it came to thinking about the cities, and when it came to thinking about how they grew up, what their relationship is, who they are as characters, it was just really important to us. You know, and so as much as it is cool to be at a thing like this, I think we just want to tell a good story, you know, and make the League audience really proud. So I hope that's what we're gonna do. And they're starting to yell at me, so Alex, take over.
They want you to go.
It was awesome to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk more, you know, at some point. So have fun.
I will. You do.
I want to rip them off your head.
Like not at all.
I,
Are you good?
yeah, I'm fine. Hello.
Hello. All right. Can you very quickly, briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Alex Yee, co-creator on Arcane, writer of various things, and I've worked at Riot for like 12 years. Most of that in a narrative capacity, at least to some extent. Christian and I both started in player support, but even back then I was doing my first lore tasks were copy editing 300-word bios, and that's kind of how I wheedled my way into working on Champions. So
It's actually so cool that everyone so far working on these always started on like I don't want to say lower position, but you know, like a different position at Riot.
or at the absolute bottom of the totem pole. Yeah.
Alright, so I asked this question everyone, but I'll ask it again, even though I always get the same answer. Was Jinx and Vi the first choice when it comes to the story, or did you consider other stories to be told?
Well, now I'm curious what the other answers are, so I don't be the ones odd man out. I think at least for me, they were pretty much from the get-go. You know, they were the ones that we were inspired by. Yeah. Honestly, I don't even think there was really a lot of talk around other things, because it was really just, I mean, for starters, you know, we didn't know where we would wind up, right? So, you know, we kind of felt like this wasn't going to be the story of Riot. It was just going to be a story that we wanted to sink our teeth into, you know. And so yeah, I mean, those were characters that were really close to us. You know, I had Christian. His first signature on Riot music was really the Vi. You know, Here Comes Vi, that song for the login screen, and then he worked on Get Jinxed, and then of course that's where Fortiche came in with the first music video. So, you know, a lot of history with those characters.
I mean, I have to say, I remember a moment when actually Get Jinx released, and the next day I was on a bus to school, and there were literally like kids actually singing that song on the bus. That was a really memorable moment, so I can kind of
that's crazy.
So this entire universe, or not even just universe, like the story right now is really riding off of something really massive already, and now we can see like where it's heading. So now with 6 years of this being in the making, at the very least, I assume, are there characters which you didn't really count on to be in the story at first, but then like as you kept going, you just like kept editing in more characters?
Yes. Although, I mean, so there was sort of one moment that happened kind of early on, because, you know, like I said, you know, Jinx and Vi were right out of the gate strong contenders. I think, you know, to me, it's like you obviously can't really tell that story without Caitlyn. And so, you know, I think that's where we initially set our sights with the story. And then there was a point where Christian was talking to me, and he's like, "We're gonna have Jason Victor too, right?" And I was like, "Oh, we are. Okay, hang on. I have to go change some things." And so you know, they came in a little bit later, but you know, I mean, Victor's a character that's always been very, very close to my heart. You know, he was one of the ones.
He was my first favorite character in League when it comes to the story, like purely based on the story.
Yeah, there's only, I don't know, let's see, Caitlyn and Victor. I don't know. There's like 3 or 4 of the characters in this are ones that I was like the original creative on, and so they're like your little children, you know, this little piece of you carried on in them. And Victor always had something special because I don't know, like back then when he came out, you know, it wasn't. I feel like that whole kind of transhuman desire, right, and sort of like I don't know, the cause for it. It wasn't. It was looking further ahead, you know, than where we are now in our Black Mirror universe. But yeah, no, I mean, I've always been a big fan of Victor. I was really excited when we could bring him into the story, and then, you know, again, Victor and Jace, they have to come together.
I mean, I did literally before the stream. We did on stream write down all the possible names of all the characters who could appear in Arcane, and that includes every single side character of every single story. So I could like name characters and ask you for hints if we could see some people, but I assume you can't really reveal anything. So instead, even though funny it would be cool, instead, I have a question. Even though Arcane is PG-16, I believe, Zone is a pretty grim place. So were there actually moments where you had to like cut back on what you can allow in series?
Well, so the interesting thing with that is we did not set out making this with the age limit in mind, which I think was good because it allowed us to push the envelope a little bit, and I think, you know, we did our best to find ways to make the content as mature as we felt like we possibly could before they would come and put cuffs on us. So you know, that was I think there was this kind of eureka moment working on Arcane where I'm gonna have to go soon. But so this sort of eureka moment working on Arcane where, you know, we were trying to figure out like what is the tone of the show, and I was thinking back to, you know, a moment when I was in high school when I saw, you know, the first, you know, animes that really inspired me. So like, you know, Ghost in the Shell and Akira, you know, there's like Golgo 13. And, you know, for me, it was like, it was crazy to see something animated that had that much complexity. And I just felt like it's amazing that someone trusts me as someone at this age, you know, to watch something like this. And so, you know, I think we wanted to imbue that sort of same sense in Arcane. So hopefully people don't feel like we made a lot of concessions for the ratings.
I mean, the trailers already have quite a few juicy moments, so I think there is a lot of stuff that we can be looking forward to.
Okay, great. It was really good to talk to you. I hope I get the chance again, hopefully in person at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll look forward to seeing your next couple prediction videos as we continue going.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Yeah. By the way, these interviews are kind of like, you know, I don't want to say unprepared, but so far going from the top of my head, and I hope I'm doing a decent job. We might not be done yet. We'll see. We will see. Alright. So far, I think we're doing fine. By the way, did you hear? Brandon Beck actually watched my video. Oh, Marc Merill. Did I say Brandon Beck? Marc Merill.